My politics in 2016. I am a classical liberal. The government should restrain itself from violating our liberties. The war on drugs and foreign military involvement are unjust. We shall soon ascend from this foul binary system in no peace. My politics now. They have taken the bridge and the second hall. We have barred the gates, but cannot hold them for long. The ground shakes. Drums, drums in the deep. We cannot get out. A shadow moves in the dark. We cannot get out. They are coming.
Good morning, my beauties and bees. Good morning, good morning. Thank you for sticking around. I got a little slow start this morning, so I'm gonna adjust my mic. I'm all over the place. Good morning. Bugbot is back. Hello, Bugbot. Yeah, there's I play banjo. Yeah, I did. People I guess don't realize that I'm a musician. I play my go-to is harmonica. Like if someone challenged me to like a showdown, a musical showdown, I'd go to the harmonica to kick their ass. But I can play, but strings, anything plucked, I can play. I've actually trained on the scales though for banjo, mandolin, guitar, bass, all those good instruments, ukulele. But I can find my way around a dulcimer and things like that too. So yeah. Yeah, maybe I should bit my banjo part of the show if people really like the banjo. To me the mandolin was is the fun one because it's so bright. But I do like the banjo because I like it twang. Yeah, it goes good. No, squish doesn't work. Swat works. You can swat Bug, by the way, but you can't squish him because he's made out of metal. You just hurt your foot trying to squish him. But swat works. It should work. Yeah, I haven't. There's a few more commands. They're like the swarm command when we get a troll. But we haven't got that yet. I haven't got that yet. But yeah, if you hit swat, you can swat Bugbot with a newspaper or a sandal. Good morning, everybody. Wow, everybody's popping up early this morning. Usually I get a little bit more into the show than that. Nikki, did you see that I added you a channel link? If you want to link your channel, all you got to do is hit an exclamation point and type in SAS. And it'll pull it up. I haven't got everybody who's going to have a channel link up either. But yeah, Trees does have one, though. I believe. Yeah, Trees has one. And I think Chris Mallard, the Daily Atheist, has one. And it is DAM. So if you want to link Chris's channel, Dave has one at his desk. Yeah. I think Dave's his desk. It might be Bigfoot, though. Yeah, no, it's just got Bigfoot in the description. I should put both your links on there. Yeah, but you all got links now. So if I mention your name or I bring up your name, all you have to do instead of chasing down a link to find out who that person is type in the little command. And once I get a full list, I will release a list on my channel community page, so you can go out there and see what kind of commands Bugbot has. Like it's it just makes things a little bit more convenient. And it's been a while. When my computer crashed, it killed Bugbot, like fried him. He was no longer usable. So I've spent some time rebuilding him. And I've been kind of lazy about it because I've been focusing mostly on the transposition stuff. But I may start using Bugbot on the transpositions. I don't know yet. So if I do, I'll probably come up with a new list of commands specifically for that channel, though. So that'll be a whole different story. But I built Bugbot from the ground up. He's a great resource for finding links and channels, and also you can play with it. I tried to do the game thing. I haven't got it quite sorted out yet. I can see how many points I have. My points are bugs, by the way. I'm real creative, right? Bugs. But I don't know how to get it to gamble or anything like that. I haven't been able to. Well, let me gamble. Maybe it will. I don't know, but it does like games and stuff with points. They don't quite have it down yet, so stick with me and we'll figure it out. Would I have to trans Bugbot? No, because Bugbot is even though I call Bugbot him, it's mostly because my headcanon is Bugbot has the personality of Bender from Futurama. Actually, sometimes I picture Bugbot when y'all having Sting, like when Bender from Futurama was wearing the bee suit when they were in the giant beehive and he had to dance for the queen. I picture that Bender. That's my Bugbot. That's why I've gendered him. But Bender Rodriguez from the cartoon actually has a transgender episode where he's transitions and he's actually like seems a bit happier as an individual. So who knows? Maybe Bender is trans pug. LML. Yeah, trans pug would be like a little doggy. Oh heck, we're rolling right into Cryptic Corner time, and it's spooky season, so it's going to be a ghostly one. So I will see you guys over there. Yeah. I will see you guys in Cryptic Corner. More community stuff at the end of the show, I guess. Yeah, because we don't got time for it right now. All right. I'll see you guys in Cryptic Corner. Hello once again, my beauties and bees, and welcome back to another installment of Cryptic Corner, where we explore the unexplained, the supernatural, the paranormal and hidden, the alien, the accursed, the forbidden. And I am your host, Miss Bumblebee, and hopefully you are having a lovely morning. It is October 12th, 9:48 right now. We are in the depths, in the darkest depths of spooky season. I always considered October 13th to be the official peak of spooky season, right? Just because the 13th, because sometimes there's a Friday the 13th on that day, and then you have a Friday the 13th and Halloween in the same month, and it can be spooky as hell. But when it comes to spooky stuff, I'm a Halloween bitch, as Dr. Ben likes to call me. I love spooky stuff. I love horror and scary stuff. And last week we did spooky, scary stuff. We did Ghost caught on CCTV. Some of them were more convincing than others, and some of it was really great wire work. So, power to you. Today's a little something different, though. Today we're going to go down the folklore path, because I do want to explore a ghostly phenomena. And today we're going to focus just in the U.S. I did find plenty of examples of this from around the world. Now, we've covered man-eating trees before. We have talked about them. We've discussed I had the one that Mark did the intro for. Actually, let me see if I can play that real quick. I'm going to play the wrong one for just a second, but then I'll switch it over.
From the top of the tree sprout long, hairy green tendrils and a set of tentacles constantly and vigorously in motion, with a subtle, sinuous, silent throbbing against the air. The slender, delicate palpi, with the fury of starved serpents, quivered a moment overhead, then as if by instinct, with demonic intelligence, fastened upon her in sudden coils round and round her neck and arms. Then, while her awful screams and yet more awful laughter rose wildly to be instantly strangled down again into a gurgling moan, the tendrils, one after another, like great green serpents, with brutal energy and infernal rapidity, rose, retracted themselves, and wrapped her about in fold after fold, ever tightening with cruel swiftness and savage tenacity of anacondas fastening upon their prey.
All right, yeah. So that was I had Mark read about that. That was the Madagascar man-eating tree, Yativo, I believe is the way that it was pronounced. Regardless, there is a Mothman statue in West Virginia. Yeah, it is. My son actually got his picture taken there last year. Yep. I went to see the Mothman this summer in West Virginia and put some coin bills in his bottom on the statue. Yeah, he's got a nice, like, from what I understand, he has a very elegant butt crack. The Mothman does. That's his one of his prominent features. We've covered the Mothman before last year at Christmas time, because the Mothman is a Christmas topic to me, because the end of the Mothman, the end of the Mothman phenomena, as it took place, the original slew of sightings, it ended on Christmas. With the Silver Bridge collapse, and people are at Christmas time with the Silver Bridge collapse, and it has presents floating down the river as part of the imagery that they like to use. LOL, Bree already went. Well, yeah, the Mothman Museum in Point Pleasant was closed. So it was just the statue that was that was for the photo shoots. But anyway, back on topic, because y'all get me distracted about Mothman, and I go about Mothman for a million years. I'll tell you right now. But man, I have a little frog in my throat this morning. The man-eating trees, we've covered that. We've talked about it fairly recently. But some trees aren't man-eating. Some trees are just cursed or haunted. So today I thought I would look at some of the U.S.'s, the United States. We will do an episode about the European or Eurasian or African. We will have other episodes, just like we do with the giant spiders. We did the African, we did the North American. We're going to have giant spider episodes for each continent too. Don't you worry. But today we are doing haunted trees of North America. So, yeah, let's buckle in for this one, because some of these have some not there. Some of these have some wild folklore. I hit the wrong button. I don't know why I was doing that. Almost ended the stream. That would have been bad. There we go. All right. So what we are talking about. What we are talking about is these haunted trees right here. The first one that's coming up on the list is the haunted history of the old Louisiana witch tree.
Way down in old Louisville, there's a tree folks around here don't take lightly.
Not old Louisiana, old Louisville. It's in Kentucky.
Gnarled up and twisted like something out of a nightmare. They call it the witch tree. Some say it's cursed. Others reckon it's holding powers older than these hills. One thing's for sure, though.
Question in the comments, isn't Mothman a West Virginia thing? Well, it's on the West Virginia-Kentucky border, right? It's in the mountains, right where the Ohio splits the two states. It's a river town. So, Mothman there were sightings on both sides, I'd say. The bridge was crossing the states.
Disrespect this old tree, and you'll find yourself on the wrong side of fate. Folks have been saying for years, them that mess with it don't walk away unscathed. So what's the real tale behind this spooky old tree? Grab a seat, because we're about to dig deep into the strange history of the witch tree of old Louisville.
I think this could be called the witch episode, because the next topic I have for when we get weird with it later on is also going to involve witches. Witches and hurricanes, though, so different gear.
Well, howdy there, folks. Welcome back to the Scary Stories from Kentucky podcast playlist. Right here on the...
Glad to be back. I don't know if I've been here before, but glad to be back regardless.
Kentucky Melody YouTube channel. We're mighty pleased to have you joining us today.
The Hive is happy to be here, sir. We are thrilled to let you tell us about a spooky tree.
Hope y'all are doing just fine, but before...
Well, don't set your standards so damn high, Kentucky Melody. I'm not doing all that well, but we're trying to do a show right now. Let's not get into my personal stuff.
We dive into today's story. I just want to remind y'all, if you're enjoying these here stories, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a heap, and make sure you...
So some of the trees may have execution histories that we talk about, Sumami. Some of them are haunted. Some of them are cursed. It's just kind of a grab bag of behexed trees, I guess we'll call them. And we're going to go look at them on the map, too, because a lot of them are still standing today. Yay. Mothman is primarily known from a bridge collapse over the Ohio River, but sightings have been made around the world before the disaster. Yeah, there's histories of Mothman or Birdman-like creatures from other locations and regions. The Owlman of Menway has similar features. What's the guy with the spade-shaped head? Not the folk monster. It's the... I'll think of it at some point. But yeah, what about the Croatoan tree? Yeah, we're not going to get the Croatoan tree, unfortunately, because I think that's just people trying to add spookiness to history. But maybe we'll talk about Roanoke as a whole thing. We might do some Lost Villages lists too. That would be cool.
Won't miss a single spooky tale we got coming your way. So let me tell you about one of the most mysterious and downright spooky tales to ever come out of old Louisville.
Old Louisville.
This here story's about the witch's tree. a twisted, gnarled old maple that's been standing there longer than most can remember. Now, you see, back in the late 1800s, Louisville...
Brian Stevens, oh my gosh, you speak to my childhood. Yes, Ernest Scared Stupid is part of what inspired this list. Absolutely. Absolutely. The troll tree from Ernest Scared Stupid. Then the folklore they tie into it. Eartha fucking Kitt chewing up the scenery as that character. She understood the assignment and she took it to the next level. God, I love Eartha Kitt.
Bill was a city on the rise, growing fast with new folks settling in every day, building homes and businesses and turning the old town into a bustling hub of activity. But even with all...
I see, if I say it like that, look at the trees. If I say Louisville, I feel like I'm making fun of them. Because my accent, not this Midwestern newscaster accent I'm putting on for you right now, but my natural accent with lots of y'all and ain't and yeah, and I got a lower Midwestern. It's like where the Midwest and the Southern accent mix at the influx the Mississippi and the Missouri River. It's really a melting pot if there ever was one, and that's where my accent, my natural accent, comes from. But it does not include things like Louisville. It does include things like crick instead of creek, wash instead of wash. I've never said wash. I've always hated wash, but that's part of the accent here. There's a few different vernacular stuff. Some of it I can drop and some of it I can't. Some of it'll pop out if I get emotional. I'm trying to be more comfortable with some of the more endearing ones. I took a long time to stop saying y'all, but I think I'm okay with y'all. I really do. So we'll see if I can break myself with that.
All that progress, there was something dark and strange.
Oh, okay, yeah, dialect, not accent. Okay, exactly. I got a dialect, not an accent. Well, there's a southern accent. Yeah, the different words. Yeah, the way that we pronounce the words, though. I mean,
lurking in the shadows of the city. There was talk about a group of women, witches, some folks called them, who made their home right in the heart of old Louisville. These women weren't the kind to wear pointy hats or ride broomsticks, no sir. They were just regular-looking folk, but they had knowledge of things most people didn't, and that made them feared and respected. Now, at the corner of...
I doubt they were all in their late 20s and early 30s, though, like these women appear to be, because which is like a real Grady woman and an Appalachian Grady woman, it takes like I'd say at least 30 years to actually be at a point where you would call yourself or consider yourself a witch. I don't know if there's even any greenie practitioners left, but I always thought those were cool too. There were these Appalachian medicine women, or just old women who lived in the hills and worked basically in place of a doctor or as a supplement to a doctor with natural herbs and stuff like that. Also a lot of woo-woo attached with it, but they did have, I mean, some of the herbal remedies and stuff that were used were like legit, like using real things that you can collect in the wild. But
6th and Park Avenue, there stood a tree, big, old, and twisted, with branches that reached out like the long fingers of an ancient crone. It was said that these women, these witches, would gather under that tree on the darkest nights of the month, when the moon was just a sliver in the sky. They'd light candles, chant incantations, and perform rituals passed down through generations.
And if you know, I'm moving in a month, and if I'm moving to the city of El Paso, and if anybody knows where there's a place where there's a gathering like this in El Paso, I'm down for it. Let's gather in the moonlight and drink wine and chant around a tree. I'm here for it.
That tree, they believed, was a powerful place, a spot where the veil between our world and the next was thin as gossamer. Folks in the neighborhood knew better than to go near that tree after dark. They'd whisper amongst themselves about the strange sounds they heard on those nights, low murmurs carried on the wind, shadows moving where none should be. And though no one could ever prove it, there was a feeling in the air, a heaviness that pressed down on you when you walked by that old tree. It was a place of power, a place of fear, and a place where the witches held sway over things most folks didn't dare to understand. That old tree wasn't just any tree.
Now the tree, we're going to look at the actual tree in just a little bit here as soon as this video wraps up. Well, say a little bit. This is a 14-minute video. I'm going to speed him up just a bit because he's got his voice is nice and balanced and everything, but we're just more interested in the story than the delivery right now.
It was the heart of their rituals, a symbol of their connection to the old ways, to the magic that ran deep in the earth. And in a time when the line between superstition and reality was as blurry as a foggy holler, that tree,
foggy holler, yep,
became the center of one of the most infamous stories to ever come out of Kentucky. So, sit tight and listen close, because this here's where our tale truly begins. Now, round about 1889, the city was a-fixin' to celebrate May Day with a grand old maypole right there in old Louisville. The city folks, in all their wisdom, decided they'd chop down that witch's tree to use for their pole. They figured a tree's a tree, and what better use for it than to bring folks together for some merrymaking. Well,
yeah, let's make some witches mad. That's the way you celebrate May Day.
When the witches got wind of this, they was madder than a hornet's nest. They begged and pleaded with the city officials, warning them that cutting down that tree would bring about a curse.
Oh, I'm here for it. Cemetery tour. Let's do it, Nikki.
But the city folks, they was too busy with their highfalutin plans to pay heed to a bunch of women folk talking about curses and such. So, they went ahead and chopped down that tree, and let me tell you, them witches didn't take it kindly. They gathered one last time at the stump of their sacred tree, and with a fury born of betrayal, they cast a curse on the city. They said the winds would howl, the sky would darken, and the people of Louisville would pay for their arrogance. Now, let me tell you, it weren't long after that old tree was felled that the skies over Louisville started to darken, and folks began to feel a deep unease settling over the city.
This was hurricane season, or I guess it was this time of year, right? Let's envision as October. Yeah, this is the 18th. I don't remember what year I said it was. This is the 18th or 19th century version of
March 27, 1890, and a day that started off with nothing more than a light breeze soon turned into something straight out of a nightmare. The clouds rolled in, thick and black as coal, and the air grew heavy, with a stillness that made the hair on the back of your neck stand up. Old-timers said they'd never seen the sky look so angry, like it was boiling with some unholy rage. Then, out of nowhere, the wind picked up, screaming and howling like a pack of banshees let loose from the hollers. The tornado hit with a fury that no one had ever seen before, a wrath that seemed almost unnatural, like the hand of something dark and vengeful was at work. It tore through the heart of Louisville, ripping up homes, flattening buildings, and snapping trees like they was toothpicks. The storm cut a path of destruction nearly 10 miles long and a quarter mile wide, leaving...
Now he's implying that it was a tornado here. Captive Desk, awesome! Jay Pasek, Alex Raven, Robin Webster, Salt of the Red Earth, Thorn Among Roses, welcome to the Hive. Yeah, welcome. Settle yourself right down here in our Hive and listen to these captivating tales of old Louisville, old Louisville, L-U-V-U-L-L. There you go. Louisville.
Even nothing but ruin in its wake. The folks who lived through it said the winds weren't just strong. They were alive, screaming and wailing as they twisted and churned. The sound was something otherworldly, like the very earth was crying out in pain. Windows shattered, roofs were torn clean off, and whole houses were lifted off their foundations, carried away like leaves in a storm. It was as if the tornado had a mind of its own, zeroing in on the city with a vengeance that left no doubt in anyone's mind that this was no ordinary...
Tornadoes do be like that. Sometimes you'll hit your house and leave your neighbors completely unscathed, and people are like, what the fuck did I do?
...storm. Over 70 souls lost their lives that day, and hundreds more were injured. The streets were littered with debris, and the once proud...
Now, see, 100 years earlier than this, these women would have been tried and executed for this.
buildings of Louisville lay in ruins. The devastation was so complete, so total, that folks began to wonder if maybe, just maybe, there was something to that curse the witches had laid down. After all, it was hard to ignore
Actually, this wouldn't have been hurricane season because they said they were getting ready for May Day, which is what? That's May. Is that May 1st or May Day is May 1st, right? Yeah. So that's tornado season, though. It is tornado season.
coincidence. The storm had struck so soon after the tree was cut down, and with a fury that seemed almost personal. Now, here's where the story takes an even darker turn, one that folks around these parts don't forget easily. You see, as that tornado was ripping through Louisville, with the wind howling like 1,000 tormented souls, something mighty...
We have plenty to say about the hurricane and stuff in the next segment of the show, so stick around for that because there's going to be... We do explore a conspiracy about that. Not the mainstream one, though. I was kind of bored with that. We'll find... We got a fun one.
Strange happened. Just as the storm reached its peak, a bolt of lightning, bright as the hand of God himself, came crashing down from the heavens and struck the very stump of that felled witch's tree. Witnesses who survived the storm claim they saw it plain as day. That lightning bolt hit the stump with a force like no other, splitting the remaining wood clean in two and sending sparks flying through the air. The ground around it sizzled and smoked, the earth itself charred black as coal. They say the air was thick with the smell of burnt wood and something else, something unnatural, like the very essence of the curse had been unleashed with that strike. But that ain't the end of it. Some folks swore on their lives that in the flash of that lightning they saw something. Figures, ghostly and faint, flickering in the storm's light, like the spirits of the witches themselves had been summoned by the power of the storm.
Wait a second. So did the witches die? Why are they spirits now? Or are they just like astral projecting? Maybe they're like somewhere in their coven, all sitting in a circle like this, and then this is happening. But they already did the ritual when they were gathered around the tree stump, so they wouldn't be doing a ritual now, or they shouldn't need to be actively doing a ritual now, where they would be there. Maybe they're just doing an observation ritual of the observation of the damage and then the renewal.
The thing was over in an instant, but it left a mark, a powerful reminder that the curse was no idle threat. And wouldn't you know it, out of that very stump, split and scorched as it was, a new sapling began to grow. It pushed its way up from the blackened earth, twisted and gnarled like the tree before it, but with a certain defiance, as if it was born stronger, more determined to stand as a sentinel of the witch's wrath. This new tree, it seemed, had taken root not just in the soil, but in the very heart of the legend, growing from the spot where the lightning had struck, a symbol of the power that still lingered in that cursed ground. From that day on, folks didn't just...
So that sounds like part of the tree survived. Like, a bit of it, like, most of it got blown to smithereens, but little sprig of it managed to survive and revitalize itself.
Respect that tree. They feared it. They'd pass by with quick steps and hushed voices, some crossing themselves or whispering prayers to ward off the evil they believed was still there. The story of the lightning strike spread just as fast as the tale of the tornado, and together they became part of the same legend, a warning to all who might think they could mess with forces beyond their understanding. And so, the witch's tree stood, not just as a remnant of the past, but as a living reminder that some things are better left alone. Today, the witch's tree still stands in old Louisville, an imposing figure that seems to guard its secrets with an almost eerie patience. The tree has weathered many seasons, its twisted branches now more gnarled and resilient than ever. Locals and visitors alike regard it with a mix of reverence and wariness, acknowledging its place in the city's folklore. People from all walks of life come to see the tree, drawn by the...
Yeah, it pulled a group, Pragmatic Crystal, exactly. It rooted itself out of its stump.
Tale of its curse and the storm that followed. It's become a kind of pilgrimage site for those intrigued by the supernatural and the curious alike. Around the tree, you'll find a collection of offerings, beads, ribbons, coins, and even handwritten notes.
March 27th, 1890, says Brian Stevens. That's when this tornado hit Louisville.
Folks leave these tokens as a way to pay respects to the past, to appease any lingering spirits, or simply to acknowledge the story that has become part of the local culture.
I like how lumpy
On certain nights,
though.
particularly when the weather turns stormy or the wind picks up, you might see more people gathered around the tree. Some come to hold quiet vigils, some to leave their own tokens, and others just to feel the atmosphere of the place. It's not uncommon for people to share their own stories or experiences of the tree, adding to the rich tapestry of legends that surround it. The witch's tree has also become a symbol of the city's resilience and respect for its own history. Local festivals and events sometimes feature
The burrows make it like it's melting, don't they? Like it's
the tree, incorporating its story into the broader narrative of Louisville's heritage. School children learn about it in their history lessons, and it often makes an appearance in local ghost tours and folklore presentations. In the end, the witch's tree stands not just as a piece of living history, but as a testament to the enduring power of local legends and the respect they command. It reminds everyone who sees it that while the past might be dark and mysterious, it is also an integral part of the present, shaping the way we understand.
It could have been hit by lightning, or it could have been, I was just reading about it, or it could have been torn down by the tornado.
Appreciate the world around us. Well, that wraps up our tale of the witch's tree and the eerie events that followed. Now, I'm curious. Have you ever heard of this story before? What do you think or believe about the legend and the strange happenings around that old tree? We'd love to hear your thoughts and any experiences you might want to share. If you enjoy,
Yeah, they used to make like bowls and stuff out of burls that you could, like serving bowls and stuff, wooden bowls, and they look really cool when they get you cut them in half and polish them up. Anyway, I wanted to show you guys the tree. So, yeah, let's it's Google Map time. Yay, Google Map time. So here's old Louisville. Am I saying it right? I don't want to say it wrong, but I also don't want to sound like I'm making fun of them. There's this intersection right here of Park Avenue and South 6th Street. And here's the witch's tree. And you can drop right down in the street in front of it. And it's right there. It's in the shadowy area, but we're going to see if we can't get a little bit closer by rolling it back a bit. Come on. How come you're not moving? As I know we can get a closer look than this. Yeah, you can see the burls and stuff through the foliage, but these are probably the tree's kids, I would say. I don't know if that's an oak tree, though, is it? They said it was an old oak tree, or is it? Doesn't look like it. Those don't look like oak leaves to me, but this tree's leaves are getting in the way. This tree right here's leaves are getting in the way, so I can't discern what type of leaves it even has. And these trees right here are covered with maybe they're just bushy, I don't know. But yeah. The witch's tree. Can we get a better look at it here? Yeah, you get a better look at its lumpiness. Look how lumpy it is. They still do make bowls out of them, yeah. They're formed around insects or cuts. Yeah, they're or just diseased parts, or where a branch broke off, a burl will form sometimes. Yeah, if you cut it off, it'll form a burl over top of it. If the tree lives long enough, eventually it'll cover that open area up, because they lose water through those open wounds. And it's scar tissue. Yeah, burl is basically tree scar tissue, right? I have a tree twice that thick in my yard. Yeah, this tree isn't really beefy or anything. It's not a huge tree. Doesn't seem to be that old, but I guess that goes with the legend that it's that it just regrew from an older tree. It is gnarled up here, though. Look how gnarled it is, which is pretty wicked looking. And I bet in the fall it looks better than it does when it's all green. Probably looks spookier anyway. Wait. Oh, there's a good view of it. Good grief. I was like, what? I know we had a better view of this on Street View earlier. Yeah, you can see how its roots and stuff. Now I can see why it's called the witch's tree, right? Look at this. But that's what happens. Yeah, when a tree regrows after it's been blown over or knocked down, it's all scar tissue that shows that it survived. And you can kind of see here that there's been like more pruning done on it in the past. But man, people hang stuff up high in here, don't they? That's up by the power lines. Oh, I guess they probably throw them up there. There's strings of beads. Like, these are the offerings that they were talking about, I guess. And people throw them up in the branches until they get caught. But I wonder if the people who live here, because it's an apartment complex, ever have any spooky reports about the tree. That'd be cool. Obviously, it's growing into the power lines here and needs to be pruned. This is bad. These branches are dead, too. This is bad for, like, especially, oh, man, I wonder if that survived Helene, because look at that. You can see the wires bending. Louisville, get your bucket truck down there to trim that up. I bet the bucket truck guys are probably scared of the tree. All right, we got more trees to come, though, so the one the city cut is listed as a maple. Did that look like a maple? Yeah, it might be a maple. The leaves are too blurry there to see. Maple leaves are very distinct, though. Maybe I can get a better view of... I can't tell if that's the parasite growing on it or if that's the tree. These will be the tree itself. I don't know. It doesn't look like a maple. It doesn't look like a maple tree to me. It's got an ivy growing on it. All right, let's move on to the next one though. I don't want to spend too much focus. This is the one that started the whole thing. This next one here, that started my whole journey into looking at haunted trees. Alright, so this is the devil tree. And it's in New Jersey.
What's up, gang? Welcome back to another History in Graveyards. Today, I am at the famous evil devil tree. That is it right there. There's a lot of lore, a lot of stories about this tree, and let's get into it. A lot of people have tried to cut this tree down, burn it, do all sorts of things to it, but to no avail. This tree wants to stay. A lot of people, kids, have tried to spray paint it, fuck with it, do all kinds of burn.
It
You see all
doesn't
the chart
look like they tried to spray paint it. They succeeded.
marks on it up there. Charred marks all down here too. Also, in the summer, I've been here before, and if you see those little holes there, this tree is covered in red ants. Of course, they're red, right? The hell.
Carpenter ants.
So, one of the stories is a farmer killed his entire family and then came here and hung himself at the tree. I'm not sure if that farmer was the Farmer Nick story. There was a story about a guy named Farmer Nick. I think that was him, but I'm not quite sure. But yeah, supposedly he did murder his entire family. I don't think it was here at the tree where he murdered them, but he hung himself here somewhere on this tree. I'm not really sure where. Probably those huge limbs that are cut down now, or you can see where they were cut. The next story is snow never seems to
These limbs right here. Oh, snow.
collect around the base of the tree or by the rock over there. I don't know why. I don't know. I guess it's warm, something with the earth, or it could be the portal to hell. Who knows? Now, there have been plenty of attempts.
We're going to look into that in just a second, too. But the rock probably helps with the snow thing.
To try to cut this tree down, burn it, pull it down with a truck. All kinds of things have happened or have been attempted to pull this thing down, and it will not come down. It's a big chunk somebody tried to pull off. But
yeah, that's literally what it comes down to. It's a tree that humans have persecuted over decades.
Cut it down.
But it's doing fine.
Go around it. What's around it? Nothing really.
Looks healthier on that side, though. People leave some rocks and stuff in there. And all this will heal up if everybody leaves it alone. It'll take care of itself.
I wonder what's in the hole. It's a portal to hell. So I've done a couple of investigations here with some friends years back, and we didn't really get anything. I think we got a couple voices with a spirit box, but I don't really think it really panned out to be anything. So personally, I didn't get anything from this tree when I was doing paranormal stuff. But yeah.
I don't think...
Try to find the rock for you.
You can see the rock better in the next video we look at. I think the rock's closer to the tree.
Well, unfortunately, I cannot get through this grass, leaves, and dirt to get to the rock, but there is a rock right here, staring at the tree, right in this area, there's a rock.
Yeah,
and I cannot get to it.
The
Sorry.
cool thing about rocks is they absorb heat and retain it longer than like soil. So
Guys.
that explains the ice thing.
Okay,
and
so
the
now the
snow not
claims.
melting.
One, your hands turn black if you touch the tree. You can touch it here and then go home and somehow your hands are stained black. That's one of the claims. The other claim is if
Let's
you try
see
to take
them
an axe
hands,
to it,
bro.
the axe falls from your hands every time you swing and hit the tree. It just bounces out of your hands. The other one that's kind of ridiculous is there's the guardian.
Clearly, people have been able to cut branches and cut into the trunk of the tree without it.
Of the tree, and if you try to fuck with it or mess with it, a white pickup truck comes out of nowhere and chases you out of the area. Really? So who knows if this is a legit thing or just lore stories? Probably lore stories, but it is a legit tree, obviously. Also, if you guys do plan on coming here, this is a park, so just be respectful of the hours of when you're supposed to be here. I think it closes at dusk, but I'm not sure. Kind of feels weird when you are standing by the tree, just a heaviness in the air, I guess you can say. I mean, a lot of shit happened here, but just feels kind of weird. All right, guys, so that about wraps it up here. If you want to come here, you can find it under Google Maps under the Devil Tree, or just type in the Devil Tree, and you'll see there's a main road right here. There's a little spot.
Next guy goes to it too.
Hey everybody, Sue and April here. We are heading to the Devil's Tree in North Jersey. We've heard all kinds of stories about this thing, like voodoo, devil worshipping, all that kind of fun stuff. And supposedly there's some rocks there that even when it's snowing, the rocks are warm to the touch, even in snow. Supposedly snow doesn't get within 10 feet of the base of this tree neither. And it's not like a tree that has leaves on it which will stop the snow, but it just naturally doesn't do it. So if that's the case, we have lots of snow everywhere. So let's see what we can find. So stay tuned.
Alright, we're not watching your intro thing though.
Somerset, kind of a sign here. First thing we run in.
Alright, I'm gonna go refill my coffee.
A little swamp trying to get through here first. So we have a sign here. First thing we run into. Park closed half hour after sunset. Violators will be prosecuted. Somerset County Park Commission. So this is the famous Devil Tree. Cannot be cut down because anytime you try to cut it, bad things happen to you. There used to be a chain link fence wrapped around this that apparently the city put in, but as you can tell, it's been removed. And I guess these are the rocks. And there is no snow in that area.
Now, I found a lot of videos of like kids coming around and messing with the tree and trying to climb it, so I get why they put the fence around there temporarily. But here you can actually see the rock, right?
You can actually tell a temperature difference here. And you can see the tree. They have tried to chop on this thing for years. People have been hung from these. This has ties to the KKK.
No, it doesn't.
Has ties to neo-Nazis, all kinds of stuff.
Well, I mean, folklore it does, but like in real life.
Supposedly, if you put something on the tree for one full lunar cycle, you take it off and you put it in somebody's yard, supposedly they have very bad luck. Bad things will happen to them.
See, cursed trees. That's what we're talking about.
A lot of the folklore and everything can be made up, but this tree in particular does have actual history and lots of deaths attached to it, including the field that it sits in. I'll put a link down below of a couple links so you can actually see what the story is with this.
Yeah.
All right, so conclusion is some of what they say about these rocks and the snow. Using a temperature gun, the only thing I can find is a 2-degree difference between those rocks and the actual snow, and the ground around the rocks is the same temperature as the rocks, but I have no idea on that one.
That's just how rocks do. But yeah, when the snow melts, it's going to melt on the rocks first, just like it'll melt on your driveway first.
The tree itself is warmer than the surrounding area, which could be leading why these rocks could be just transferring the heat from the roots. But you can see.
Well, trees are somewhat endothermic too, or mesothermic at least. They do retain a internal temperature naturally.
All the chop marks.
All the burn marks, assholes.
burn marks. They try to burn this thing. They try to chop it down. Which you can see that it has been.
Is New Jersey a stand your ground state? Because this tree stood its fucking ground.
Some of these branches have been cut off by big chainsaws. But yeah, at least we came.
Stop bullying this poor tree. All right. Now we got one in your state, Sumami. We're going heading down to Florida.
Hey guys, here's one of the most famous haunted locations in Florida, called the Devil's Tree. I'm Praveen Mohan, and this is located in Oak Hammock Park in Port St. Lucie. This oak tree is said to be owned by Devil himself, and it's impossible to cut it down.
The devil owns property in Florida? Say it ain't so.
Unlike most urban legends, this tree has a very real story behind it. On January 8, 1971, a cop by the name of Jared John Schaefer finds two teenagers hitchhiking the town. He shows his badge and puts them in the back of his car. Now this guy brings them to this very spot, binds them, tortures them, and hangs them both on one of the branches and kills them. Why on this tree? Because right next to this tree was his home. You can still see the foundation. After killing them, he decapitates them and then starts having sex with their decaying bodies.
Yikes. What a freaking monster. Ugh.
For the next 10 days. Let's read a piece of this news from Ocala Star Banner. The headless bodies were found, and all women were believed to have been sexually assaulted after they were slain. In his house, police found a notebook where he explains how he kills these women. I asked her to put on a blindfold. She was nervous, tied her hands behind her, and put a noose over the hat that I had put up in the previous afternoon. I would pull the rope up occasionally to hear her beg. This deputy sheriff killed about 34 people before getting caught, and the headless skeletons of these two girls, Colette Goodenough and Barbara Ann Wilcox, were discovered right on.
Sumami, are you familiar with this one? I know you're a true crime junkie, and this is in your neighborhood. Well, not in your neighborhood. It's like across the state, but still.
Underneath here. He had left two ropes hanging from this branch to remember this incident. While he's in jail, this tree becomes famous or infamous. Devil worshippers and supporters of this guy start performing satanic rituals on this tree. People who were walking around were chased away. Now remember, we are talking 1970s, and this was not a park back then. In 1985, a young couple came running out of this trail, half naked, claiming there were two hooded peeping toms watching them have fun. In 1992, a group of
watching them have fun. What were they doing? Were people banging under this tree and someone caught them? Is that what happened?
Schoolboys were chased through the woods by the same hooded figures. In 1993, a local pastor erected a cross and performed exorcism on this tree. 9 months later, the cross was pulled out and placed upside down as the Devil's Cross. The legend of the Devil's Tree is now spreading like wildfire. In the year 2000, this place was turned
Where is the cross now?
into a park. Authorities had had enough of these ghost stories, so they decided to cut down the tree. Two men came in with chainsaws, and as soon as they began, both the chainsaws malfunctioned. They got into their trucks and were driving to get more chainsaws when they had a fatal accident. The driver had a piece of the tree's bark in his pocket. This incident has created the legend that if you want to jinx someone...
It didn't really look like chainsaw marks. Go back. At least not anybody who knows how to use a chainsaw. I mean, you can make marks like this with a chainsaw, but this wouldn't be how you'd want to go about, even if this was in the 70s, how you'd want to go about. And I'm saying if this was in the 70s, based on the, the healing that you see right here. You can see where it's starting to heal, coming down around here, up across there. And it has some bites out of it. But these are not... They don't look like chainsaw marks to me. And I've spent a bit of time pruning, so I mean I kind of know how you're supposed to use a chainsaw. And if these people were just like that to it, just like they were fencing with it, maybe they could make some marks like this. But that should probably fix it. A priest probably, exactly.
Had a piece of the tree's bark in his pocket. This incident has created the legend that if you want to jinx someone, take a piece of the Devil's Tree and put it in their car.
And that matches up with more of those marks that I'm seeing. Those marks look like people with hunting knives or hatchets chopping off chunks of the tree to use in spell work.
They will have an accident within the next 21 days. All these cut marks are from people who come in with knives and take a piece of devil's tree. But be careful, because in 2004, one woman who took a piece of it to put it in her quote-unquote friend's car had an accident as soon as she drove out of the parking lot. So don't ever drive if you take a piece of it. If you visit this place after dark, you might see the apparitions of those girls hanging from trees. If you want to visit this place, walk by the big river and don't take the Oak Trail. Take the second left and you will reach the Devil's Tree right away. I hope you like this video. Check out the other haunted places in my channel.
Alright, so we got 2 trees to look at now because I forgot to look at the Jersey tree. But let's pop out, and first thing we're going to do is go to Jersey. And we're going to look at that Jersey tree. So, traveling across the nation, and I think this is it. The Devil's Tree, yeah. See how close we can get to this one. Oh, we can get right under it. Good. And there's snow on the ground. Look at that. And there's snow around the tree, and there's snow on the rock. The rock being right here. So go figure. But there is a patch of cleared area around it. But that seems to be the standard for all the trees. So it looks like the snow's melting around the tree bases first. But it is big. And I've seen lots of trees that look like this, you know, big and gnarled and stuff. I think the next one we're not going to be able to get close to. Let's see. Off to Florida we go. Oh, it's 3-dimensional. I like that. Off to Florida. Way down in Florida. No, not South Carolina. Port St. Lucie. Yeah, it's going to be in here. The Devil's Tree. Recently viewed, and I think we'll be hard pressed to see anything. But they have some pictures of it. And there's a little doll on there, like a nun. Look at that. It is pretty big, though. I mean, all things considered. It looks like people like to put dolls on it.
I've done something really foolish, really stupid. I saw these 2 girls hitchhiking, and I wanted to teach them a lesson, show them how dangerous it is. So
this is the
tied
ghost
them up
tour.
to a tree, and I was gonna let them go, but just to teach them a lesson. So Sheriff Crowder was, like,
Why is it so quiet?
promptly fired Schaefer.
Can't barely hear it.
Arrested him for unlawful imprisonment and aggravated assault. He made. I've done something really foolish.
Alright, this is just the other parts of the area that's been attached to this. I don't think we can get down in here to see it, though. Unfortunately, we can't, like, get too close to it. And these places are going to be way too far away, and there's way too many trees to see. I mean, I'll drop down right here so you can see. Like, looking across the water, and there's a whole freaking forest that keeping you from being able to see. But if we come in like this, you can kind of get an idea of how dense how dense this area is, and yeah, why it probably is a reasonable place, all things considered, to try to hide a body if you're a psychopath, because there's not a lot of other options. Put it in the woods, of course. Anyway, moving on, because we got more trees to come. We got the oak tree here. Let's see.
Well, good afternoon, adventurers. Elvis Boy here with another episode of Into the Sunset. This was a little bit different. This is actually a little trip that I'm going to take to a place that's supposedly haunted.
Supposedly.
You know, I do kind of like creepy things, so I figure let's venture out to the dark side for one episode and try this out. So there's a story behind this place that's truly horrifying. So I'm going to check it out since it's so close to my house, and I'm going to take you with me. Today we're going to go visit the oak tree.
the oak tree. This location has been a popular teen hangout spot for decades. The locals know it as the oak tree. The tree covers some old stone ruins which are now heavily covered in graffiti and refuse, mostly used.
What is it, Tree? You are a blade expert. Yeah, trees. Did it look like someone had been chopping it with a chainsaw? I don't think it did. The opposite of the giving tree, the taking tree. You're talking about Brian Stevens, the Jersey tree, huh? That had the spring underneath it, you think?
For drinking and doing drugs, but several bodies have been discovered there as well, going back to the 1980s. The most recent one was found under the tree in a shallow grave on July 15th, 2011. Some visitors claim to see apparitions and hear voices. There are rumors some people have gone there and have never returned.
So, it's kind of funny. This guy's reading straight from this, like verbatim, which is fine. I do that too. But then he goes on to read straight from the comment sections. It reads this section here too, which he'll get to just now. Huh?
The story as to the rubble in the tree itself is one of a woman who had lived up top in the house, and local townsfolk believed her to be a witch, and she very well may have been one. And one day they got a lynch mob together and marched her to the doorstep, drug her out, and hung her in this very tree. And the story tells us with her last breath, she calmly and softly cursed the land, stating her soul will remain in the tree and in the house for all eternity, and the families for centuries to come will suffer dearly for what had been done to her. Could she still be there? A lot of people have seen many strange things and sounds and felt many unexplained things.
So, as you see, he was quoting verbatim from that comment section there, from the report and the comment section. So I imagine that's his main source of the folklore, is that person's comment.
It could be very haunted. See that tree right there? I think that's where we're going.
And we can only get about that close too. If you look, when we go to the Devil's Tree in California, or the Oak Tree in California, I guess is what it's called. We are. That's not it. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Yeah. Yeah, you can't get close to it. There's the tree. And the closest you can get is to be all the way down this road from it. You can kind of, if we move to the right spot on the road, you can look out and see that's the top of it right there. But you can tell it's a place where teenagers hang out. Because look, backwoods, and there's a penis. There's those 3 Ks together. Of course, edgy boy teenagers. There it is. That's the tree right there. But we can't see it any better than that from Google Maps, so we'll have to let him use his spooky editing software to show it to us. Ooh, spooky. Put a gray and then a waveform. I like
Well, this whole area is creepy. Supposedly that's the house where
now this tree
the
does
witch
look
lived.
old and big. Look at that. That's a car. Someone burned up.
Taking some pictures.
Take the pictures, bro. People having parties out here.
Yeah, so just, I believe it's 2011, they found a body buried shallow over here. And supposedly this property is very haunted. People have heard crying, screaming. Supposedly the witch hanged herself, or the townspeople hung the witch from this very tree.
Well, yeah, California's not
Yikes.
exactly known for its witches, though.
can't tell you how dark this feels.
Yeah, I found a book about water dowsing when I was in the occult section of the library in my little hometown when I was younger. And I read it, and that's basically what it came down to. It's like the book, when you read it, it tells you where to go with your dowsing rod and like what to look for and stuff. I've never dowsed before, but I know kind of the way it works a bit. But people don't douse anymore. You don't have to have somebody come out and douse for a well.
Wow.
Yeah, look at all the profanity.
So look at this tree. It's magical, mythical.
Now that definitely looks like a oak tree.
There's a pair of tennis shoes hanging from the tree. Ooh, the ground is very soft right here. Looks like an old fireplace. I can feel spots that are colder than
So I
others.
do get some Blair Witch 2 vibes here. Look at it, though, the trees growing and where the foundations are. Like, was the tree growing through the house? Like, how's this work?
Okay, I've got my microphone here.
Someone loves Dick.
Is there anybody here that would like to say something? Go ahead and talk into this little fuzzy
It
ball.
says right on the sign what they want to say, right on that wall.
Perhaps you died here. Perhaps you're the witch that was hung here. What's your name?
Dick. But how's that work? Seriously, I'm looking at the foundation of this house and wondering
You can
how
go ahead and get close to me. It's
this
fine.
thing
I'm not
works.
afraid of you. What's your name?
Or maybe the house is older than the tree, but that tree looks freaking old. You know, this thing's
Okay, I'm gonna come into your house now.
like maybe it was low.
Well, I've been to some creepy places, but this kind of takes the cake so far. Oh, and there's stories of people that have come here and never returned.
Well, there's stories like that about like going around junior highs and stuff. But yeah, if there were actually missing children that disappeared at this location, there'd be like police reports and stuff about it. You couldn't reference.
Please, if there's anybody here, say something. Talk into this little fuzzy thing. It's okay. It's okay. We'll both talk into it together. You can come on over, say something. I'll be quiet.
Here.
What's your name?
Bree McCune. Oh no, the wind blew.
Ooh.
That proves it.
Got some serious goosebumps.
And he got goosebumps. Vibes. Vibes are the ghost hunter's best friend because you can describe whatever kind of vibes and feelings you want while you're holding your microphone in the dark with the green cam. I know he's not in the dark right now. You can explain the vibes and cold spots and all the stuff you're feeling as you're venturing through this haunted location without having to prove a damn bit of it. It just feels. It feels colder. It feels spooky. It feels like there's a pressure change, you know?
Well, this is Elvis Boy for Into the Sunset. Hopefully, you can spend your time doing something a bit more cheerful. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
This is cheerful for me. This is fun for me. This is enjoyable. So you're not scaring me, pal. You're scaring yourself a bit, it looks like.
Fascinating. You know, I really do love the paranormal. Oh, check this out. Somebody did a little artwork here. That's interesting.
Of all the artwork to point out, that's what.
That'd be a skull.
Well,
The air's so thick here you can feel it.
How are we we supposed to take your video seriously when you put sound effects over top of when we're supposed to be listening for something responding? When you put video effects when we're supposed to be looking for anomalous stuff happening. How are we supposed to take you seriously as a ghost hunter?
Ooh. Thought I heard footsteps. Hello? Touch my shoulder. Push me, do something. Okay. I thought I just saw something black go behind that tree. You know, you can only take so much. Well, this is a nice car.
Yep.
The oak tree.
Spooking yourself out.
Well, thank you for coming along with me. I don't know if you could feel a little bit of what I was feeling in there by just that whole atmosphere. Wow.
This is in California, so I don't think Spanish moths can thrive too well in California. I think it's too dry.
Oh. Okay, last chance. Come on out. Come on out and say something into this little fuzzy thing.
I'm pretty confident with the live oak ID, but
Definitely have to come back out here at night. Wow. All the trees around here are dead. They must have been burned in the wildfires.
it is an oak. I mean, we know that.
It's funny, pretty much all the vegetation is dead. This tree is thriving. This tree must be hundreds and hundreds of years old.
It's got roots that go pretty dang deep.
I sure could feel an energy in there, though. Okay, well, thank you for joining me. This is Elvis Boy with another episode of Into the Sunset. Thanks for coming along on a creepy evening. Live positive. Embrace the positive things in your life. Cast aside the negative, the bad things, the things that make you feel bad. Live big.
The only problem I have here is that I want these ghost hunters that go out to do this stuff to encourage people not to vandalize or even if they have to use the word desecrate to sell the point, these locations, because as you can see, these organisms, these trees, every single one of them is suffered some level of vandalism, except for arguably the witch's tree with the trinkets hanging from it. But I don't think hanging trinkets is vandalism. But all the rest of them had graffiti and chop marks and people messing with them. So these poor human interaction. All right, this one's not really haunted. I just love the angel oak. I've actually been to this tree. Look, it goes back, it returns back to the earth. It's so huge. Never seen anything like that before.
Angel Oak, a southern live oak, is located at Angel Oak Park, Johns Island, near Charleston, South Carolina. Estimated to be 300 to 400, and some people claim 1,500 years old, this fairyland-esque oak stands 65 feet tall, has a trunk circumference of 25 feet, and shades an area of 17,000 square feet.
Now, when I went here, I was a kid. There wasn't all these posts and stuff around it. There wasn't really anything around it. I think there may have been a big corral fence around the whole area it covers, but you could put a town underneath how far these branches stretched. You could, like a small town, but still, it was, it would cover most of a football field with its spread. But as you can see, a lot of it touches back down to the ground and reabsorbs back into the earth. When I was there, you could actually climb on these. They didn't like regulate you or anything. I mean, I was a kid. I didn't know didn't feel like I was like doing anything bad, but we climbed all over this thing. It was amazing.
Its longest branch is an awe-inspiring 187 feet long. Named after former owners of the property, Justice and Martha Waite Tucker Angel, the name fits it well. You see, local folklore tells of stories of ghosts of enslaved people appearing as angels around and in the tree. Angel Oak is considered to be the largest southern live oak tree east of the Mississippi. She has survived rough weather, including hurricanes, floods, earthquakes, and yes, even human intrusions. Now, with today's tender-loving care, she will continue to thrive so her beauty and her majesty can be enjoyed by people for years to come.
Majestic, right? You can see people put like supports and stuff down too. She comes back up out of the ground. What a cool tree. Apparently haunted. 10 times better than the Ewok Village. Absolutely. It's gorgeous. It's the Angel Oak. All right, we got... Well, did I have that on the map? I don't even think I had that one on the map. It's near Charleston, though. It's not hard to find. It's in a big national park thing. No, I didn't mark it on the map because Charleston's over here. Right there. But I wonder if I can find it. Angel Oak, Charleston. Yeah, you can get down in here. Heck yeah. You get all down in here around the Angel Oak. Have a look at how... I guess this must have been a drone flying around up in here. Maybe it's on a long selfie stick. Yeah, I think it might have been a selfie stick. That's kind of too close, though. Let's see. Yeah, it's just gorgeous. It's an amazing tree. Yeah, you can see the supports and stuff they put in a little better right there. What's this say? Please do not climb or carve on the tree. Yeah. But again, I was there before they had all this stuff in place. As far as I remember. I hope my parents weren't letting me. Well, I think I was there with my grandparents, actually, but... Anyway, got one more, and this one's a bit different. And I just got to explain this because it's been a recent meme.
If you see this tree, your day is ruined.
Money!
I'm sorry guys, but I'm about to ruin the joke. So you guys might have seen a video like this pop up on your For You page recently. This is one that I got tagged in where we can see this guy recording this tree with no context whatsoever with one word, help. Upon closer look, this is what the tree looks like, but you might not understand what's going on here. Well, this video was recorded in part due to a meme that's been going around lately, known as the lepidodendron meme. This image has been bouncing around on the internet for the past few days saying, attention, have you seen this tree? Hopefully you haven't because it's a lepidodendron tree and it's extinct. And allegedly, if you're seeing this tree, it means that you've fallen through some sort of rip in the fabric of time. This has prompted a ton of people to start recording videos of trees that somewhat resemble the lepidodendron tree, but really are not the lepidodendron
Those are not
tree.
lepidodendron
This right here is a pretty accurate portrayal as to what a lepidodendron tree would look like in its normal environment. So if you see one of these, you don't have to be too alarmed, you just have to wake up.
Yeah, so lepidodendron trees, if you see one, you're supposed to have fallen through a time rift. All right, so that wraps up the Cryptic Corner section of the show today. Which one of the haunted trees was your favorite? We had the Louisville tree with the witches. We had the Jersey tree with the rock and the snow melting and the burn chop. We had the Florida tree with the horrible, gruesome history. We had the California tree with just a lot of loose fabrications, but it was a wonderful oak tree with that foundation underneath it. And then, of course, we had the Angel Oak. So, actually, I'm going to do a poll, and I'm just going to use those four, because I don't think the Angel Oak really counts. I don't know if that really counts as a haunted tree, but if it'll let me do a fifth option, I'll do it. But let's see. What is your favorite tree? Okay, so we had... the Louisville Witch Tree. We had the Jersey Devil Tree. And I'm kind of like the Jersey Devil Tree. Just call it the Devil Tree. Because if I call it the Jersey Devil Tree, people can think I'm saying it's associated with the Jersey Devil, and it's not. Then we had the Florida trees. That was, yeah, Florida Horrors tree. And then the All right. There, I started the poll. You all can tell me which one of those trees was your favorite to cover. There will be more haunted tree segments again in the future. I don't know if we're going to do any more this year for October, but we may do one for like Arbor Day or something like that for, I don't know. We'll cover more trees. We'll expand out because there were just too many to cover for me to do a global coverage, and I'd figure this way it breaks them up into continents or countries, and as the case may be, all of these were in the U.S., none of them were in Canada or Mexico or anywhere else. So we just covered haunted trees of the U.S. It looks like people like that oak tree with the foundation. It was pretty, wasn't it? Oh. I didn't even question what type of tree the Florida tree was. It had lots of Spanish moss growing on it, though. What about the demon trees from Evil Dead? Well, they're rapists. I wouldn't want to... Yeah, we've talked about carnivorous trees before. I have a whole video on that. As a matter of fact, let me give you all a link to that, too, so you all can... All right, so... Yeah, here's the man-eating trees. Man-eating trees for the hive. And then, what else do we got? We got giant pre-diluvian trees. The giant trees, like the tree stumps and stuff. We have a couple videos of that. So I love trees, if you can't tell. We've got giant trees. Got 2 videos on giant trees. We got giant trees at Tartaria too, which is sort of the same and sort of different. So please watch some of my backlogged content. I appreciate it. If you haven't watched these other topics that I've covered, yeah. And I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. So, do you believe in haunted trees? Do you believe in cursed trees? Do you believe in any of the folklore surrounding these trees? Let me know in the comments down below. And please remember to be kind, take care, and we will see you next time. All right, now live from the hive, people, don't go anywhere because there's still more show to come. Plenty more show to come. I got a couple more topics to break down for you. This is just numero uno, but I do want to give you all a heads up. Tomorrow is a very special day. Tomorrow at, I guess it'd be 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central. I am premiering. I haven't made a full-length pre-recorded content in over 3 years. So this will be a first time I've done it in a long time. And the last one I did was I was trying to do response to evolution, denial, and creationist, but focusing now on making content for this channel specifically regarding the cryptozoology and stuff that we cover here. But these are going to be more loosey-goosey. It's going to be, what I've done is decided to build fake biology, phylogeny, and ecology for cryptids based on folklore and sightings and reports with the stipulations that they have to fit into the modern phylogenetic tree and can't be like surviving dinosaurs or anything like that from the pre PKG extinction event. So those are the stipulations. And I'll finish this poll up here in a second. So if you haven't voted, vote now, and we're going to see which tree is everybody's favorite. All right, I got 12 votes so far, but 20 people watching. So if you haven't voted, get your votes in. I'm going to be wrapping it up here. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll run the intermission, and then I'll wrap it up when the intermission's over. But tomorrow at noon, don't miss it, because we're going to unpack the crypto phylogeny of the Michigan Dogman. All right, I'll see you guys in just a minute.
A cool summer morning in early June is when the legend began. At a nameless logging camp in Wexford County where the Manistee River ran, 11 lumberjacks near the Garland Swamp found an animal they thought was a dog. In a playful mood, they chased it around till it ran inside a hollow log. A logger named Johnson grabbed him a stick and poked around inside. Then the thing let out an unearthly scream and came out and stood upright. None of those men ever said very much about whatever happened then. They just packed up their belongings and left that night, were never heard from again. It was 10 years later in '97 when a farmer near Buckley was found. Slumped over his plow, his heart had stopped. There were dog tracks all around. None of those men ever said very much about whatever happened then. They just packed up their belongings and left that night, were never heard from again. It was 10 years later in '97 when a farmer near Buckley was found. Slumped over his plow, his heart had stopped. There were dog tracks all around. 7 years passed with the turn of the century. They say a crazy old widow had a dream of dogs that circled her house at night, that walked like men and screamed. In 1917, a sheriff who was out walking found a driverless wagon and tracks in the dust like wolves had been a-stalking. Near the roadside, a 4-horse team lay dead with their eyes open wide. When the vet finished up his examination, he said it looked like they died of fright. In '37, a schooner captain said several crew members had recorded a pack of wild dogs roaming Bowers Harbor. His story was never reported. In '57, a man of the cloth found claw marks on an old church door. The newspaper said they'd been made by a dog. He'd have had this stood 7'4". In '67, a van load of hippies told a park ranger named Quinlan they'd been awakened in the night by a scratch at the window. There was a dog been looking in and grinning. In '77, there were screams in the night near the village of Bel Air. Could have been a bobcat, could have been the wind. Nobody looked up there. Then in the summer of '87, near Luther, it happened again. At a cabin in the woods, it looked like maybe someone had tried to break in. There were cuts around the doors that could only been made by very sharp teeth and claws. Pete didn't wear shoes cause he didn't have feet. He walked on just 2 paws. So far this year, no stories have appeared. Have the dogmen gone away? Have they disappeared? Soon enough, I guess we'll know, cause this is the time to fear. For another 10 years has come around, the 7th year is here. And somewhere in the northwest darkness, a creature walks upright. And the best advice you may ever get is never to go out at night.
All right, hello, my beauties and bees. welcome back to another installment where we get weird with it. And today I am getting weird with a sensitive topic. So I want to make sure everybody understands that I have close personal loved ones. Some of you who are in the side chat right now even, who were impacted by either Milton or Helene. Milton and Helene sound like a freaking horrible couple. So I guess that makes sense. But I know people who have been hit by and suffered loss because of Helene and Milton. So I'm not making light of it. There's been a lot of conspiracies being spun lately about these hurricanes in particular. Specifically, that the U.S. government has weather machines that create hurricanes and tornadoes and shoot them at Florida to make war on the people there, or Ron DeSantis. I don't know. You think if we had the power to make a hurricane, that and the Democrats were running things, that maybe sending a hurricane to Russian shores to keep them distracted would be a better choice than to destroy our own economy. But what do I know? Yeah. So I'm not making light of this, right? I don't think that there's weather machines. I don't think that that the Democrats are doing anything to try to sway an election by creating hurricanes to attack Florida. I think that that's ridiculous. I think that they will point to geoforming stuff that we do, the projects that they're working on, things that are put in place to bring like rain back to drought-stricken areas that formerly had rain before climate change, by doing certain activities in that region to stimulate the weather. We are there where we can, we're in its infancy, but we're there. But we're not making giant hurricanes. No, there's no technology yet that's making giant hurricanes. It's super weird that people are saying that. But it's not the weirdest thing people are saying. Now, this isn't the first time that this stuff has come up, right? It's not the first time that we've had someone claim that that hurricanes were demonic. We all remember this image of Hurricane Matthew. Now, what's happening here? That's the eye. That's just the eye of the hurricane. And here, islands. And really, you see this especially with isolated islands, but these aren't necessarily isolated. But islands will actually, they do impact how clouds form over them. So you can see where islands are even when it's fully overcast because of the way the clouds interact over them. So that's making this little island chain's making this nice row of devil skeleton teeth. Right? We all remember this. Spooky. This is from the New York Post, of course. But yeah, and they made a big deal about it. So of course they're going to do that with these hurricanes as well. So I found this channel, Jennifer LeClaire's ministry. I teach people like you how to pray, engage in victorious spiritual warfare, see in the spirit, prophecy with accuracy, and cast out demons. My name is Jennifer LeClaire, and I'm a pastor, prophet, best-selling author, and teacher. And this woman has 266K subscribers. 266,000 subscribers. Oh, look, and she pairs up with Jenny Weaver, who we've also seen, and we may have to revisit again this October because she's the famous, I used to be a witch, and now I'm an evangelical lady. But her videos cover a lot of different ground, but lately she's really been into marine demons. marine demons, prayers to hurricanes, prayers to hinder hurricanes, and this is what we're going to be watching today. Hurricanes and water spirits. Is Leviathan stirring the sea? All right, Jennifer, why don't you take it away from here? Let me know if you can hear her. All right.
Could water spirits be behind these hurricanes that we're seeing doing so much destruction in the United States of America? Could it be Leviathan's witchcraft behind?
I like how it's Leviathan. As far as I know, it's Leviathan. The A is not pronounced that way, but I don't know.
Scenes,
Maybe I'm wrong.
stirring the seas, bringing the surges, the winds, the rains, to steal, to kill, and destroy. I submit to you that it could be. This is Jennifer LeClaire, and I want to get real and raw with you for just a few moments. Spiritual warfare is real. You've got to look behind the scenes. Not everything is a meteorological phenomenon, you know, the wind, the rain, the pressure systems colliding. I don't
What is it, Jennifer?
believe this is coincidental at all. You know, in the realm of spiritual warfare, we understand there are deeper forces at work. Now, I'm not saying every rainstorm is demonic, but what I do know is this. Jesus rebuked the wind. He spoke peace to the storm, and it dissipated. God is not sending storms to judge America. And if you've heard people say that, they are on the wrong side of the cross.
Are you talking about Pat Robertson that way? I think a lot of your audience is probably going to be offended of you calling out Pat Robertson like that, because he did indeed say God was punishing Houston. Hurricane Katrina was God's punishment for homosexuality.
The Bible tells us in 1 John 5:19 that the whole world is under the control of the evil one. And this includes the elements of nature when satanic forces are at play, and satanic forces can come into play in weather systems. So witchcraft, a powerful tool of the enemy, has long been known to manipulate the natural world. Witch doctors, occult.
So witches are more powerful than God and can circumvent God's chosen weather patterns and supplant them with their own.
Occultists have practiced sorcery. Recognize that the enemy's agents can manipulate the natural world. Witch doctors, occultists have practiced sorcery. Recognize that the enemy's...
What the hell was that jump cut? You didn't even finish the sentence.
Agents can manipulate natural elements through their unholy alliances. And while people are engaging in witchcraft, you know, they may see this as gaining power over nature. They're becoming Satan's pawns in his plan for destruction. And hurricanes are a manifestation of this spiritual assault. Now, I don't mean to get too high.
Do you think she's going to get racist about this? Do you think she's going to get racist? Do you think the direction that hurricanes come from, that she's going to be able to spin this into a racist thing?
High and lofty on this. So let me boil it down into spiritual warfare terms. Witchcraft operates in the unseen realm. Its power flows from the second heaven, where principalities reign and they rule, spiritual wickedness, rulers of darkness, all of this in the second heaven. Ephesians 6:12 reminds us that we're not wrestling against flesh and blood, but we are wrestling. We're wrestling against spiritual forces. Spirits like Leviathan, the twisting serpent who revels in the upheaval of waters. This is real. Marine.
Leviathan's a primordial entity, right? But Leviathan precedes this creation. Leviathan is who Marduk and later Yahweh is. Leviathan and Yahweh is a retelling of Marduk and Typhon. Is it Typhon? Typhon's from Greek mythology. It's the big dragon. Come on, Mud Fossils University talks about it all the time. Marduk and what was the name of the serpent? that he had to tame in the primordial sea. Marduk and the Serpent's the black metal band. Hell yeah. That's a cool name.
Demons are real. I wrote about this in my book, The Spiritual Warrior's Guide to Defeating Water Spirits. And this activity is linked directly to stirring the oceans and the creation of powerful destructive hurricanes. So while modern scientists, they try to track, right now they're tracking with the weather patterns and they're identifying physical conditions necessary for hurricane formation, warm water temperatures and low wind shear and moist air and all these scientifical,
Scientifical. All these scientifical.
Spiritual warfare reveals there's more, there's more at work. Anybody that understands spiritual warfare knows there's more at work here. So the occultists and the witches of these regions are partnering with demonic forces, stirring up not just physical winds, but spiritual winds of destruction. Let me show you some examples in scripture, how the enemy uses nature as a weapon.
This is very scripturally scientifical, guys.
Remember Job's story. Job's story is a prime example. One day, Satan used fire from heaven, wind that caused destruction, and other natural elements to wreak havoc on Job's life. He lost everything. He lost his kids. He lost his cattle. He lost his wealth. That's what the enemy does. The enemy comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy. John 10:10. And he'll use...
They just glaze right over the boils. He gave him boils all over his body, too. Like, that's not just... while he's dealing with the loss of everything, his livelihood, his family, and everything, he got boils, too.
Use nature itself as a tool for destruction if given the opportunity. So I mentioned this earlier, but Jesus calmed the storm on the Sea of Galilee in Mark 4. He wasn't just stopping a natural storm. He was taking authority over a demonic attack, hindering his mission. And the storm was not coincidental. It was stirred up by the enemy. So in the same way, hurricanes can be stirred by the forces of darkness empowered by witchcraft. So how do we stand against these spiritual...
I absolutely love that I cannot look up any of these names without just pulling up a metal band that's named that. And I'm not even joking. I'm trying to find the name because it's driving me crazy. And I typed in Primordial Serpent, and goddamn if there isn't a band called Primordial Serpent. Yeah. Primordial Serpent is a band. But back to... Miss LeClaire.
Storms. What do we do? What's the response? We've established now, and it's really a well-known fact among spiritual warriors, that witchcraft coming off the west coast of Africa spins out these hurricanes.
Boom! Witchcraft off the west coast of Africa. Ouch. West coast of Africa, where they still practice traditional African religions. But you got to remember, a lot of these countries, like Nigeria and stuff, are really Christian now. So what are you talking about? There may be some practitioners of traditional African spirituality here, but a lot of these people have been converted. Missionary work went hard in West Africa. She said witchcraft from Africa. And it's well known among the spiritual warriors that obviously the witches of, Gambia, I guess, the Sierra Leone, Liberia, or are we talking more up in here in the Gulf of Guinea? Regardless, black people are sending traditional magic, satanic magic hurricanes at the U.S. That's the bottom line, right? Bottom freaking line. People in West Africa are sending hurricanes, not against the U.S., but against other predominantly African and nations with predominantly African ancestry, like Haiti. Apparently, they don't give a crap about them, who practice a lot of the same traditional religions too. They're just going to send them after Haiti, too. Of course, maybe the witches are from Haiti that are also sending in the hurricanes. Who knows?
I've known this for almost 25 years since I've been walking with the Lord. This might be your first time hearing it, but it's real. So how do we deal with it? Well, we've got to rise up and take our authority over demonic forces. Jesus gave us the power.
With your scientifical powers.
Power to bind and to loose in Matthew 18:18. And we've got to use this authority to pray against these witchcraft-induced, witchcraft-inspired hurricanes. We can't just let it roll through our territory and steal and destroy buildings and drown people. I mean, it's horrible what's happening. So we've got to intercede fervently against the powers of darkness and, bind these demons, this witchcraft, break it. That's, because what's causing these, you get naturally minded on this. I see some of you listening right now and you're like, no, take my word for it. We have turned many a hurricane. We need a collective gathering of people with the faith to do it.
You've never turned a single frickin' hurricane, Jennifer. Name a hurricane you turned. Name it. And tell me what timestamp you turned it at. And I want to see. I want to see you doing your ritual prayer or whatever, and I want to see that hurricane responded. And I want timestamps. Show your hand. You make a claim here, you show your freaking hand.
We've seen it happen over and over again. And we decree peace, right? So here's some suggestions. Here's 5 things. 5 things. 5 key steps to pray against witchcraft-fueled storms. And again, I'm not saying every rainstorm is demonically inspired. I'm not saying that. Don't put the words in my mouth. But I'm saying a lot of what we're seeing is in hurricanes, they're spinning off the west coast of Africa, guys, I'm telling you. So listen, we want to recognize the spiritual root. If you just think it's a coincidence, you might not have a righteous indignation to pray against it. So we want to acknowledge that hurricanes, like other forms of destruction, can, I'm not saying they always do, but they can have spiritual origins. And witchcraft is often at the root.
What? So is the hurricane a living entity then, if it has a spirit? The spirit of the hurricane? I mean, what's going on here?
Of chaos and confusion and fear. And you see the impact when the hurricane starts to form. The shelves are empty. People are...
make sure I get some mod receipts. I just want to kind of keep an eye on what's going on, but not have to try to follow it now. So if you do any moderation, if you could pop me over some receipts, I appreciate it.
Afraid. They're freaking out.
I just want to know what's being said where and when by who.
Witchcraft often at the root, and we must stand against it with our spiritual weapons. Number 2, we engage in strategic prayer. We plead the blood of Jesus.
The blood of Jesus. Remember when COVID was like going around and they interviewed that woman and asked her if she was going to get vaccinated and why she wasn't wearing a mask? It was why she wasn't wearing a mask. And she said she was protected by the blood of Jesus. I wonder if that lady is now.
Over our regions. We pray that the blood would cover the oceans and break the power of witchcraft, and all the witchcraft rituals will be brought to nothing, that we would nullify them by the blood and the word of God, speaking and decreeing to it, putting cease and desist orders on it. These demonic forces have to bow to the name of Jesus. Even the wind and the waves have to bow.
Show me an example of the winds and waves bowing to the name of Jesus. I want to see someone call on the name of Jesus to calm a stormy sea and actually see it work. I want to see someone drive a tornado back up into the sky by invoking the name of Christ. I want to see that. If that happens, if that's a thing that actually happens, I want to see it. I'll believe evidence. Show me enough evidence and I will believe it. I don't want stories about how they blew the whole church down and 97 died, but the Bible was still on the lectern untouched or some crap like that. And that's ridiculous. That's not a good story. That's not a good telling. Those aren't good results from your God. Like, F my people and my building and the infrastructure, but don't touch my buck.
to Jesus' name if they're demonically inspired. You know, Elijah called for rain. The rain came. He called a drought, and he had
within the book itself. I want to do that. I want you to go to I don't know, Australia, where they are having every year is a new drought record. I want you to go down there and get them some rain ASAP. The ecosystem down there depends on it.
Authority over the elements according to the will of God, and so do we. It's not God sending these storms. We want to declare that no weapon formed against our nations, our cities, our states will prosper.
Crazy.
Number 3, we want to take authority over the weather, just like Jesus did, right? We can speak to the wind and the waves, commanding them to be still in the name of Jesus. We can break the power of the enemy's influence over nature. We can shut down the forces that fuel destructive hurricanes. We can.
So you can take demonic hurricanes, something as huge as a demon hurricane sent by all the most powerful witches of West Africa. All the witches of West Africa. Or Haiti. I was trying to decide whether I needed to include Haiti in that or not, but Haiti's dealing with their own shit right now. But I'm sure they got their witches too. That your prayers, you had all your prayer groups and everything all put together to stop these Milton and Helene, and you failed. Is that what I'm understanding? That you failed because you can do it and you've done it in the past, but you weren't able to do it this time.
We can. We can. And number 4, we want to break curses.
But you didn't. Freaking the Carolinas are in shambles. How's Tampa looking down there, my Floridian friend? Tampa's wrecked. What? You failed. You're not getting paid this season, right? Like if you are our Tempest team to protect us from the storms, then you failed us this year. So, no. Actually, as a matter of fact, I'd like to look at your resume and see your success rate. If you think that you're doing something.
So oftentimes hurricanes are empowered by territorial curses. They're linked to witchcraft, generational curses in the land. Things that need to be identification or repented of sometimes. We want to pray that these curses be broken by the blood of the Lamb. Renounce any agreements with demonic powers, knowingly or unknowingly, on behalf of a region, right? I mean, there could be any number.
Again, but you didn't. You didn't do that. Why not? What went wrong? Why did you fail? Why did you fail? Tell me why it did not work. All you and your prayer warriors, all together. Why did it not work, Jennifer? People are dead. Why? And you're claiming that you have the power to save them. Why didn't it work? I know at least 200 people died in Helene in North Carolina. So why didn't it work? Why did your magic prayers... I'm serious. This is kind of pissing me off. Why didn't it work? You have this ability to fix everything, and you didn't. Why?
Number of things going on in the land that's attracting these things, as far as like curses and bloodshed and Freemasonry, different things. Number 5, invoke angelic assistance. Invoke angelic assistance. Ask God to dispatch his angels to fight in the heavenly realms.
His angels suck. His angels suck at their job. And they should be fired. Because, again, hundreds dead. I don't even know what the death count in Tampa is right now. Hundreds dead in NC. I know that because one of my dear friends lives in North Carolina. And their region got hit pretty hard. Still without power, or just got power back yesterday. So it's been a rough go of things. Where were you? Where were your prayer warriors? Where were the angels? You calling on angels that didn't do anything? Just like Miss Paula White calling on angels for Trump back in 2020.
Psalm 91 promises that God will command his angels concerning us to guard us in all of our ways. Angels can battle principalities that stir up these storms. We don't go toe to toe with Leviathan. Okay, don't start binding Leviathan. You bind the witchcraft. So there are physical factors in hurricane formation. I'm not saying that every single hurricane or storm or typhoon is always demonic. There are true weather patterns, and some of that is how.
How do you tell which ones are demonic and which ones are true weather patterns, Jennifer? Huh? How do we know which ones are which? Explain it to us.
We've, we're reaping some of what we've sown by the way we treat the land and the pollution, different things. I mean, there's many factors here, but we should not be blind to the reality of spiritual warfare in the second heaven, Leviathan, witchcraft. These things are real. The good news is we're not powerless spectators. We're called to pray, decree, and stand against the forces of darkness that seek destruction. We've got to do it. We see when we see.
But you didn't. But you didn't. But you didn't. But you didn't.
Hurricanes forming in the Atlantic. Let's not just watch the weather reports and let it engender fear in our heart. Whether you live in this region or not, or live in a hurricane-prone region or not, let's watch and pray. Let's bind the power of witchcraft spinning off the coast of Africa and declare the Lord of hosts will fight.
If you want to be of assistance in any of this, anything at all, make sure you vote for people who are taking this climate crisis shit seriously, right? Make sure you vote for those people. And if you want to help, if you can afford to help, these people don't need your prayers. They don't need thoughts and prayers. They don't do anything. They're flaccid. You can send goods. You can send money. There's so many organizations that you can contribute to help rebuild or to help sustain what they've got going with FEMA and state national guards and things like that, working their asses off out there. What you can do you can make an effort to help, but prayers, they're just not going to do any good right now. A prayer is a slap in the face for someone who's starving without power in their mountain home in the foothills of the Appalachia mountains, where they aren't necessarily prepared for hurricanes. So fuck your prayers. This woman's making me a lot madder than I thought she would.
For us. Remember, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty in God for the pulling down of strongholds, according to 2 Corinthians.
The weapons of your warfare are flaccid.
10, verse 4. So together, as we wage war in the Spirit, we can push back the forces of darkness and see God's will prevail, his peace prevail in the midst of the storm. So, you got it?
Did you see God's peace prevail in the midst of the storm?
Watch and pray. Watch and pray. Watch and pray. And we take authority over every hurricane force wind that would seek to destroy our land, to kill our people, and to flood our lives with misery, sorrow, panic, fear, and whatnot. We speak to every storm now. We command you to dissipate. We command you to die by fire. We draw you up and draw you out in the name of Jesus. We come against every hurricane force wind and we say, be still now in the name of Jesus.
Did it work? Did it work when you did that? Against the hurricane force wind, did it work? Were you able to stop the hurricane from killing people, from destroying homes? No? Oh, you weren't? Look, I'm not going to engage about moderation during the live broadcast. If you've got questions about the topic, definitely hit me up. You got different opinions about the topic. Moderation, I don't even know. I get receipts after the show to go through it and see if we need to adjust anything in the way that we're handling stuff. So I won't know until after the show. So you'd have to, if you think that something like that's happened, you're not going to be able to get a response live, just to be clear. And you're welcome to join the Hive Discord server if you want to reach out to me directly if you have a grievance. And you definitely are welcome to share your receipts as well if you've been moderated and you think you've been moderated unfairly. This is the last time I'm talking about this live, guys. I'm not gonna go on here dealing with every chat moderation decision that's made and pick it apart live on camera. Okay, it's just not gonna happen. I'm upset right now about this woman claiming that she had the power to stop hurricanes but didn't for whatever reason. Apparently the northern lights were visible in Oklahoma a couple nights ago, but I work at night, so I didn't get to see it. Yeah, they were visible here too. Not last night. It was Thursday night. Was it Thursday night? It was the night we did the transposition. Yeah, Thursday night. That you were able to see them here, and I'm in like West Central Illinois.
We reject the witchcraft. We break and bind it. We put a cease and desist order up on it in the name of Jesus. We command every witchcraft arrow to fall to the ground. Every wind of witchcraft, we reverse you in the name of Jesus. And we say, die in the ocean now in the name of Jesus. We will not stand by and watch Leviathan's witchcraft or any kind of curse prevail against our land. So we come against it.
But you didn't. You did stand by and watch. You didn't. Nothing happened. Nothing that you did worked. Nothing. None of your magical prayer warrior powers worked. None of the angels were able to stop Milton or his old lady Helene from ravaging the East Coast. It's Florida twice. So Florida got hit by both of them, and I think a lot of the more southern areas got hit by both of them.
And we break every curse on the land in the name of Jesus. And we thank you, Lord, that where hurricanes have hit, that you have the ability to heal and restore. In Jesus' name, amen and amen. God bless you. I'll be back with you with another message soon. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Have a breakthrough day. Demons are real, and they're getting bolder. Are you prepared to defeat them when they begin to walk the earth? You can be. Get ready now with my free gift to you. 1 hour of aggressive prayer against water spirits. Pray along with me. This powerful resource will equip you.
And I must stress that this aggressive prayer does not work, or did not work twice in the only 2 times that I know of that it's been tried in the last hurricane season did not work. I'm not going to look back and see if she's claiming she turned other hurricanes right now. I'm talking about the 2 that just hit. She has a 0% success rate with this service that she's offering for free. Obviously, it's free. Things that don't work should be free.
For the battle ahead. Don't wait. Visit schoolofthespirit.tv/courses/marine and arm yourself in prayer to defeat water spirits. Access this resource for a limited time. Victory starts here.
Do you think she means well? Or do you think she's a grifter? I mean, do you think she's a grifter? She's going to tell us what water spirits that are making the hurricanes are right now. This is almost over. It's just 2 more minutes.
Every day, people are feeling the effects of unseen evil forces. And yet they don't know what's attacking them, let alone how to have victory. While many spiritual warriors are familiar with principalities and powers like Jezebel and witchcraft, fewer have heard of marine demons. These powers wreak havoc in places near bodies of water. From Python to Leviathan to Rahab and beyond, in my book, I teach you how to prophetically recognize these spirits and engage in
so I recognize those animals.
Victorious war.
You said Leviathan was a crocodile and that Python was an anaconda. I think that was an anaconda.
Fair against them.
Let me go back and look.
You're gonna from Python.
Might be a python. I can't see its snoot.
Python to Leviathan.
But that's definitely a crocodile.
To Rahab and beyond.
Rahab is a Komodo dragon.
In my book, I teach you how to prophetically recognize these spirits and engage in victorious warfare against them. You're going to recognize the symptoms of the spirit of Python and learn to break free.
Yeah, this isn't a religious channel at all. My main thing is debunking woo-woo, debunking claims that, magical claims and things like that. I target people. I was talking about witchy claims from like pagan religions earlier in CrypticCorner with the ghost trees and stuff. So I'm no holds bar on if you make a supernatural claim, I'm on it. And depending on which segment it is, these people who have a whole, if it's a belief system built on it or a theory that they're trying to present as real, it will land you in this segment, whether you're Christian, Buddhist, Hindu, pagan, it doesn't matter. Santeria, I don't care. If you're making a claim that you have supernatural powers, I'm gonna hold you to account.
From its squeezing stronghold. Detect the twisted lies of the Leviathan spirit. Overcome the spirit of Rahab that attempts to keep you from crossing over.
So why is Rahab a monitor lizard? Is Rahab a water monitor now? That looks like a Asian water monitor. So you switch from a Komodo dragon or aura. I don't know if you know this, but people in the trade like to call them auras instead of Komodo dragons. That's ORA, but I don't know.
And unleash the power of the Holy Spirit and partner with him to see change in your city in the Spiritual Warrior's Guide to Defeating Water Spirits. Available wherever books are sold.
You want to learn how to defeat water spirits? Is this the first one? And then there's going to be a second one that's defeat fire spirits, then earth spirits, and then wind spirits. And you get all four of those books together. Maybe there's a defeat heart spirits, and then you can summon Captain Spirit. Well, it doesn't do me any good to try to teach people who believe in woo. If I ban them from the chat. If you believe in the people that believe in the woo are definitely people that I want to be here. It doesn't have to be woo either. It can be they just like believe in that there's a Bigfoot out there or whatever. Because I will scrutinize it. If you want to get like an honest investigative review of any kind of claim, I'm your girl, right? I look at videos, I pay close attention, I have an investigative mind. That's what I do. It's what this whole channel's about is breaking down folklore, supernatural claims, paranormal claims, all this stuff. That's the whole point of what I'm doing here. Because I spent my youth as exploring all angles of supernatural and 14 and paranormal and occult stuff, trying to understand how it all worked. And together I'm going to use those skills plus my my encyclopedic knowledge of biology and ecology to break this stuff down. That's what I'm doing here. That is the nature of this channel. Yeah, so I will be analytical of magical, supernatural claims made by any religious authority. Anybody, any authority at all. And I've broken things open before and found that there was some truth to what they were talking about. Like, for instance, the knot deer. When we dug into that, it looked like there was a disease behind the behavior, right? That there's generally some kind of explanation for why this stuff is happening, but it's usually going to be something natural. Could be psychological. Sometimes it is. My sleep paralysis demon was psychological, and I dealt with her on multiple occasions. To my brain, she's very real. She comes in, I haven't seen her in over a decade, but she used to torment me. But she was psychological. She was not a real thing that was coming into my room at night. Same difference with all of these claims. But when you start using these claims to sell something, right? When you say, not only is the creature that's coming in your room real. It's going to kill you one day, but I have the secrets on how to defeat it. Just buy my book and you'll be just fine. That's this woman. That is Jennifer LeClaire. That's what she's doing with very real things where people really will die. Hurricanes, water spirits, banishing the devil. I'm a little fired up right now about this. But luckily the next topic I have on the show should mellow me out. For the most part. But I think I'm going to leave her here because I don't have too much more to say about this woman. Maybe we'll revisit her again because she's got a lot of topics. She does seminars on spiritual witchcraft rising. Maybe that'd be a good topic to cover for a Halloween show. She's got false apostles rising. It's a full soup of nuttiness. There's our friend Jenny Weaver again. America under attack, so she's going to be very nationalistic. How Jezebel creeps in. The Jezebel spirit. Yeah. So, I imagine this is probably the last time we will see this person's face. And I don't know. Some of y'all want to say she means well, but to me, it almost. I mean, maybe she does. Does she drink her own Kool-Aid? Maybe she believes that she can banish hurricanes, but then she would have to come up with some reason why it didn't work this time. Just like all the prophets that predicted Trump was going to win the 2020 election. They were either forced to say, I'm a false prophet, or to have some argument that Joe Biden's witchcraft is more powerful than God's will, which is a weird path to take, but some of them have taken that path. Regardless, hurricanes aren't caused by demons or witches or any person with the intentions of causing hurricanes. They're caused by millionaires convincing us that we need to keep burning fossil fuels and releasing copious amounts of carbon and other compounds into our environment that are causing both climatic changes and just medical issues all around for the human race. So, I'm keeping that in mind. Be kind. Take care, and we will see you next time. All right, don't go anywhere. We got one more segment to go after this. I got a fun topic that I'm super stoked about. So don't go anywhere. This section of the show is always a healing section when I get into Bree's Bestiary, which is what's coming up. Now I will see you guys over there, okay?
I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. My children aren't going hungry. I'll do it. I'll drink your blood. And I'm starting to think about having to eat my neighbors. You think I like sizing up? I'm gonna haul him up by chain. Chop his ass up, size it up. I'm gonna haul him up by chain. Chop, 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 chop. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. I'll barbecue your ass flat. I will cook your ass up so fast, and I'll tell them, oh, I killed a cow out back, baby. You think Christ would eat somebody? He would never do that. I will. I'm ready to hang them up, gut them and skin them and chop them up. You know what? I'm ready. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will
will eat you. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. And that's why I want the globalists to know. I will eat your ass first. I swear to God, if it's the last thing I do, I'm going to get my hands around your throat.
Hey, welcome to Bree's Bestiary. Just where I wrap up on Live from the Hive by talking about an animal. And today it's going to cool me down because I was dealing with some people making some wild claims about hurricanes in the last segment. And it got me in my fighting mood. So I'm aggravated today. Aggravated! But I'm going to chill out and learn about some amazing... Oh, did I want to have that one? Yeah, this is the one you wanted. Here are some amazing animals. I love animals. And I love horses. And I love the Sable Island horses. Sable Island is this little sandbar about 28 miles long off the coast of Nova Scotia. It's mostly sand. It does have some grasses growing on it. And it's a popular place for gray seals to haul out on. Now in the 18th century, the nephew of John Hancock unloaded a whole bunch of horses on this island. Today the population is about 500. These horses through the island process are smaller than their mainland counterparts. The males, the stallions, reach about 700 pounds or so. The females are much smaller than that, generally not exceeding 500 pounds. On the island there are some research facilities and stations and things, but other than that, they have very little contact with humans and have more contact with their gray seals, who they have a symbiotic relationship with. Because the gray seals bring nutrients from the sea and make the island green. The greenness of the island is what the horses depend on to be able to thrive. Now, a few other animals were also put on this island in hopes that they could thrive, including goats and cattle, but horses were the only ones that managed to survive because their teeth are so well adapted to processing silica-heavy grasses like what we have growing here. That's the only thing that really grows on this on these islands. And most coastal plain grasses are pretty heavy in silica. So the goats and the cows, their teeth just couldn't keep them alive. They would lose their teeth too fast. The horses lose their teeth too over time. But they generally die of old age here because they don't have any natural predators. So they usually live a full life. Now, they do tend to have more genetic difficulties, but there have been other horses brought to the island over the years to invigorate the stock. So they have a lot of admixture in with them. But here's a little video about their symbiosis with the, it's from Nature on PBS, so hopefully I don't get in trouble for sharing this, but what I wanted to focus on is just the symbiosis.
As far as these horses are concerned, humans don't exist.
Oh, it's so cute.
Now, they live in partnership with a different animal.
So, I'm going to pause a lot. So they get really fluffy, especially in the winter, because they're adapted for a North Atlantic climate. So the summers, like the hottest it gets is in the like 70s in the summer, and then the winters it doesn't get super cold because of the Gulf Stream breaking on this, which I was just talking to Steph about the other day. Me and Steph and PC were looking at the Gulf Stream and how it sculpts the land, because the Gulf Stream runs up over this area of the island. It builds the island, it erodes on one side, erodes the island on the other, so the island slowly moves because it's a sandbar. But like imperceptibly moves over the years and changes shape subtly. Sometimes big hurricanes and storms will break off big chunks of it or build up a new area of it. But for the most part, it maintains its same crescent-shaped, 28-mile long form with very little variance. There used to be a big lake actually on the southern part of the island, which is weird to say southern part of the island because it's horseshoe shaped, so there's not really a southern part. But like in the midway, the thick part of the island, there was a lake, but a freshwater lake too. But it about 50 yards from the shoreline is where it's from the ocean to the lake shore. But it was still a lake. They would land planes on it and stuff. The planes with the buoys. When they would send vessels here, because they used to keep a research team on this island, at least 2 people all the time. There's families that have generations on this island, but other than that, yeah, these horses are completely isolated from people.
Seals.
Aww.
Every winter, 500,000 gray seals crowd onto the sands to give birth. And this huge gathering of sea mammals keeps the horses alive.
So we have seals coming out of the island for weeks where they're pupping.
And the island's also the famous place where the mystery shark attacks were happening, where the seals were washing up on the shores with these weird corkscrew bites on them, and they couldn't figure out what was making the bites, and they found out it was Greenland sharks, or that was the Greenland sharks were the likely suspect. There's a little documentary about it that I used to watch every now and then back in the early 2000s about it.
They're mating, and while they're here, they're fertilizing the grasses. The influx of nutrients is quite impressive, and the horses are responding to this.
It's a remarkable connection between 2 mammals who couldn't be less alike. The seals bring nutrients to these barren dunes, and the horses feast on the grass.
Okay, so they did get hit by Hurricane Fiona. Hurricane Fiona, back in 2022, destroyed much, but the Sable Island horses survived. The island's wild horses have survived 200 years of Atlantic hurricanes by sheltering in groups beside sand dunes. Wild horses run on the grassland of Sable Island. Yeah, that's such pretty horses. This is their summer coats, obviously. You can tell because the grass is super green. Hurricane Fiona has flattened scores of homes and killed at least one person, but there is a spot of good news amid all the destruction. The famed wild horses of Sable Island appear to have weathered the storm without incident. Sable Island is 44-kilometer crescent-shaped sandbar located 300 kilometers east of Halifax. The island is most famous for its population of around 500 horses. Lost my spot. 500 wild horses that are believed to be the descendant of mounts that escaped in the 18th century. On Saturday morning, as Atlantic Canadians took stock of homes and villages smashed to timbers by the storm, the Sable Island horses emerged from hiding and were soon back to grazing and whinnying on beaches now strewn with debris. By late morning Saturday, horses had emerged from sheltered areas were grazing, grooming, and engaging in their usual activity. Read a weekend update by the Sable Island Institute, a nonprofit devoted to the conservation of the island's inhabitants. Storms are nothing new to Sable Island, as evidenced by the more than 350 historic shipwrecks peppering the small island's coast. That's true too. This was called the Graveyard of the North Atlantic, is what they call the region around Sable Island. This is a big shifting sandbar. The island is devoid of usual landforms that can cushion the impact of a severe storm, and there is no bedrock of any kind. Sable Island is exclusively composed of sand and occasionally pebbles of gravel. There's my accent. Gravel. Down by the gravel pit. Oh. The island's sole tree is a deformed pine planted as part of a failed 1950s experiment. And they decorate it for Christmas every year. It's so cute. It's this short Scottish pine that it's only like hip high, and it grew horizontally instead of vertically. So it covers a little bit of area, and they decorate it for Christmas. Due to its isolated location, the island is vulnerable to extreme weather coming from any direction and is known to vary wildly in size and shape thanks to the wave erosion and near constant removal of sand due to high winds. Despite this, the Sable Island horses have successfully weathered more than 200 years of North Atlantic hurricane seasons. Their typical strategy is to gather tightly together between large sand dunes, the youngest and most vulnerable horses in the center, with the strongest adults to the outside. And there's a band of wild horses resting along the edge of Sable Pond. Adding to the horses' ability to hunker down is that they're well known as capable diggers. The Sable Island horses are often known to obtain fresh water by scratching out shallow wells. The horses are pretty used to storms. They find shelter from the wind and blowing sand and leaves of dunes. There are plenty of hollows and high dunes sloped inland and slopes in inland areas, and depending on the wind direction, the horses also huddle on the beaches at the base of the dunes, wrote the Sable Island Institute. During the worst of Hurricane Fiona, wave heights near the island were reaching as high as 30 meters. However, the Institute reported that the island's large sloped beaches were able to tame the worst of the waves and prevent them from swamping the area inland and between dunes where the horses would have been sheltering. Which isn't to say that prior storms haven't devastated the Sable Island horses. One reported in 1905 one 1905 report wrote of horses succumbing to starvation after high winds destroyed much of the island's wild grasses. Sable Island is normally uninhabited by humans, in large part because of its isolation and exposure to severe weather. Sable Island has only ever been fit for a rescue station and occasional military outposts. But there were inhabited watchtower and rescue teams that lived here. And they're going to talk about that. I don't want to jump ahead if they're going to actually mention. No. Okay. So I want to say there were lighthouse families that lived on this island because of all the shipwrecks, and and it did help. Like the 350 shipwrecks, that only like 2 of those are after 1920. So just to give you a perspective on how well having manned lighthouses on here, until the technology came to where it is today, where we can have their radar towers now on either end of the island telling boats where to locate it. The horses are pretty used to storms. They find shelter. Oh, did I already read that? No, I don't think so. Yeah, I did. I was here about it being uninhabited. Yeah, look at their manes. Their manes, since they're constantly being hit with sea spray, their manes get all dreadlocked and look just freaking fabulous. I love the way that their hair looks, and they seem to have like long, wild manes. Oh, so beautiful. I want to grab one and ride it bareback across the sand dunes. Ah, such beautiful horses. These are bachelor males drinking from a pond on Sable Island. Nevertheless, 4 people remain on Sable Island throughout the storm. 3 Parks Canada staff members and 1 researcher took shelter in the low cluster of buildings forming Sable Island Station. Although the 4 spent much of Friday and Saturday cut off from the outside world, by Saturday afternoon they were able to reestablish an internet connection via Starlink satellites. Everyone is fine, but there is a lot of wind damage and debris around the station to clean up, as well as some erosion that will prevent vehicles from checking the beaches for a while, reported the Sable Island Institute. They should have some 4-wheelers that don't need roads to travel on dunes. While the Sable Island horses did not find themselves among the casualties of Hurricane Fiona, the storm did destroy a number of celebrated national landmarks in addition to the destruction it wrought on human settlements. Teacup Rock, a much photographed PEI rock formation, was toppled over by the storm, as well as the Shumanakati tree, a beloved 300-year-old Nova Scotia oak that was clearly visible to a motorist driving between Halifax and Truro. Yeah, so this is talking about Fiona a couple of years ago, though. But let's look at Sable Island. I think I had it marked up on my map. Let me see here. Yeah, I think I do. There we go. All right, so Sable Island. Yeah, I called it horseshoe shape. That's what they, how they refer to this shape island. I know a horseshoe's got a lot more bend to it than this. But, yeah, this is how it's shaped. And a lot of it's underwater most of the time. Like this portion of it here is all underwater, right? There's a... Oh, I didn't mean to do that. There's a station with some buildings right here, right? Big building, lots of little outbuildings and stuff, and people can stay here. There's a few different locations, but for the most part it's pretty small. There's a little pond. Now there's places you can go down and stand, but you see that's like where the horses come to drink. what's one of their ponds. But one of the cool things about this island, look how long it is and just nothing but sand. But one of the coolest things about it is this. It's one of the places where you can zoom in on the beach and see all the freaking seals. Look at all those seals. You ever see so many seals in your life? Those are all seals. Every dot, every one of those little dashes is freaking seals. Are you able to see that? Let me see if I can zoom you guys in a little bit. Let me see. There. It's not gonna let me. Yeah, okay. Womp, womp, womp. Let me zoom you way in so you can see all the seals. All them seals. Every little dash. That's a lot of seals. And that's just from here. Like, check this out. If we move on up the beach, it's just seal phenomenon on both sides, on both coasts, if you will. Look, seals over here, seals over there. Look at all them seals. Mostly gray seals. Seals. More seals. Hey, what do you think these dots are? Guess what? They're seals. So many seals. I think it's fantastic. But the people stay on this end. And the horses come here to drink. I think this is that big lake I was talking about, though. The one that they used to land planes on. Lake Wallace. But it's gone now. It's only a couple feet deep. It used to be like a real lake. Like you couldn't land a plane on it now. But the horses have a lot of area to run on. Pretty cool, huh? All right. Let me shrink that back down before I leave. Otherwise, I'll forget I blew it up. And then the next time I come in here, I'll be like, why is this all weird? And you'll all be like, you blew it up to look at the seals, Bree. And I'll be like, oh, yeah. That's how it goes, right? All right. Let me catch up on the chat. See if anything's happened with the seal talk. If not, we'll close out the segment. What do they do during the storm, Sumami asked. Well, we talked about that. They huddle together in the dunes, which is kind of what Brian Stevens said. At my sister's place in North Carolina, they will begin seeking higher ground before the storm hits. Yeah, I saw one of those bird tracker, the satellite bird trackers that they can do now, and it showed all the birds the day before. I think it was like 18 hours before Helene hit, and then where they all were, like within the couple of hours of the hurricane, and they all moved way back into the mountains. Curse is the same as placebo. Yeah, if you convince yourself bad things are going to happen. Well, at the time, the victims can also display bias. What are we talking about here? Not believing in the power of a curse beyond victims' belief in it, no. Oh, you're answering Bugbot's question. Gotcha. Seal Platoon 6 is an example of evolution that we have been horse breeding so long, and there is a measurable distinction between a domestic and wild horse's ability to feel changes in the barometric pressure. Yeah, the wild horses they do the same thing like dogs do, right? They go back to this feral state where they're generally this between dark brown and or black, almost black, and like a light chestnut. All of them are that color. They have fur that changes in the seasons. Now their coat gets furry in the winter, and they shed off in the summer. They have long, full manes. They're much smaller than domestic horses, but that's also because of island dwarfism, which says that because of limited resources, the smaller the animals smaller animals tend to fare better than the ones that need more nutrients to survive. In other words, big horses couldn't cut it to pass on their genes on this island, so only the small survive. Some of the size limits on the individuals is thought to be due to a level of malnutrition from the island isolation. To horses taken off of the island and raised elsewhere tend to be bigger than the ones that are kept on the island. So there's a nutritional limitation there as well. But they're also have some certain diseases that they're more prone to, as you see with other isolated island populations. So, or any isolated population just in general, a lot of genetic problems do arise. But the fact that they're surviving and thriving, I'm happy to see. I like speciation, especially when species speciate outside of our control. Now, there is controversy about these horses and whether they should be protected or not under the Canadian Wild Animal Act, because they are a descendant from domestic stock, but they've been on the island for over 200 years. The only other things on the island before their arrival were seals. They released goats, cows, rabbits, and horses on this island, and the horses were the only ones that persevered. So let's hear it for the horses, right? They've earned their spot of protection, in my opinion. In my humble opinion. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Remember to be kind, take care, and we will see you next time. All right, live from the Hive, people. Man, I had a hard time losing my spunk there talking about the horses because I was all fired up about the hurricane stuff earlier. Yeah, Sable Island horses are freaking fascinating. I like talking about stuff like that, isolated species. It's cool to see it happen with a domestic species, especially in a habitat where the domestic species doesn't wipe out indigenous populations of animals, where they've carved out a niche for themselves that doesn't step on anybody else's niche. Now, I think there are probably some plants on the island that they may have wiped out, because their early reports say there were some pea plants on that island, but and there aren't any there now. So, yeah. Anyhow, thanks for sticking around with me, all 20 of you. Yeah, it's been a good show. I like horsies. I love horsies and seals, and I wouldn't be surprised if camels wouldn't be okay they have a tolerance for silicate grass. Yeah. Camels might have been able to survive on this island too. I don't know would you think they would have been able to survive with the moisture is what I think they might have a problem with. The island would be too wet, and they would have they don't have hooves like other ungulates do. They have a big fatty pad and then like 2 toenails, and those toenails they live in too wet of an environment. They tend to get bad funguses and infections in their toes. But that's just what I've come to understand about camel rearing. I'm by no means a camel rearing expert, but hey, I haven't really covered too much about camels. Next week, if I remember, maybe I should do a brief bestiary on the camel legion in Southwest United States. That'd be fun, huh? Yeah. Try it would be hard on their feet. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap up the show here. Thanks for sticking around with me, everybody. It's been lovely, and continue to have a good day. And I will be back next week, but I'm back next week live. But please tune in tomorrow. Oh, I better drop a link to that. Better drop a link to it, Bree, if you want people to come and see it. Here's the show. No, not that. For tomorrow. And it will be good time. It premieres at noon. Yes, the Camel Legion. I don't know what inspired me to make Dogman the first one that I cover on this, but it just happened to land that way. So there you go. Hit the bell on that. Please come watch. All 20 of you. I hope to see you there. I usually don't get a lot of views on my premieres. Usually it's me and maybe 2 or 3 other people in there watching it. So YouTube doesn't like that. So if you come to watch my premiere and you watch it live when it comes on, it's only, I think the video ran like 18 minutes. So just a little bit over 15 minutes. You can do this on your coffee break. Come hang out. And I'll be in the chat. We'll have some fun. I put a lot of work into this and hopefully you enjoy it. But please remember to be kind and take care, and we will see you next time. Mwah.
With all the noise, pseudoscience, and political rhetoric clogging the airwaves about transgender people, it can be difficult to understand what's really happening and what's really true. Good news, everyone! Welcome to The Transpositions, your compass in the rugged landscape of transgender issues. Here, we strive to be the beacon of authenticity, providing a platform that amplifies the voices and experiences of the transgender community. From breaking news to in-depth features to breaking down the real science, we are committed to fostering understanding, empathy, and empowerment for all individuals across the gender spectrum. Join us as we navigate the complexities, celebrate the triumphs, and advocate for the rights of transgender people worldwide. Together, we can redefine boundaries, challenge stereotypes, and champion inclusivity. Subscribe today. The link is in the description.